Hey guys, hello and welcome back to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your friend and your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, we're once again talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu. And I don't know if you noticed, but at the time of making this video, it's April 1st, better known as April Fool's Day. In the Star Wars fandom, that usually means bogus rumours circulating, outlets creating fake reports, and exclusives, but I just want to clarify and reassure you that this video is 100% legit. There's no BS, and the information we're about to discuss and dive into dropped on March 31st. And I feel the need to make this disclaimer because every time I post on April 1st, I always get the question, is this a joke? But with the craziness of 2026, every day is April Fool's Day. But anyway, my friends, with that aside, now that we're on the same page, let's dive into some Mando. So The Mandalorian and Grogu is next month, and cinemas around the world have started to ramp up their marketing. And here in the UK, Odeon just posted an information sheet. Everything you need to know before watching the movie on May 22nd. Information about the various characters, the actors who play them, the timeline and so on. But in the middle section, there is something I don't think they were supposed to leak. This is pretty darn big. So they mention the main villain, who is Johnny Coyne's Lord Janu, but they also bring up Trapper Wolf, Dave Filoni's character from the TV show, who not only appears as an X-Wing fighter, but also on a Delphi base with some of the other Lucasfilm directors. Now, we already knew that he was going to be back for the film. Jon Favreau explicitly revealed this information at Star Wars Celebration in Japan. But what we didn't know, my friends, and something stated in this piece, is that Trapper Wolf is going to be a main character, and he's going to be Lord Janu's direct rival. They say this: Johnny Coyne and Dave Filoni play rival fighter aces. In the Brimstone Red Corner, Johnny Coyne plays a survivor from the fall of the Galactic Empire, now leading a brutal splinter group. Meanwhile, in the Electric Blue Corner, Mandalorian and Grogu producer Dave Filoni plays the New Republic's X-Wing ace, Trapper Wolf. In this dogfight to end all dogfights, someone is going down. So we have a lot of information in this very brief paragraph. For one thing, as we suspected, as we theorized, Johnny Coyne's remnant, who's a member of the Shadow Council, might be trying to form his own mini-Imperial regime, in a similar way that all of them have their offshoots, like Pelion and Thrawn, Gideon before his death, and Pershing, Hux and Sloane, but it's described as brutal. I wonder what this means in terms of the wider remnant. As we learnt in Season 3, Janu is not interested in cloning. He's got no interest in Project Necromancer. Instead, as he admits, he's interested in funding, resources, and plundering the hyperspace lanes. And now we know from this press release, his splinter group is one that exhibits brutality. Because they confirm he's about to come up against some of the New Republic, assuming he's gonna lose, that's gonna have huge implications for the rest of the Shadow Council. Their secrecy is their survival. They want the New Republic to think that all of the warlords are scattered and not part of a united effort. And because Janu might have no interest in Thrawn or the others, if he's captured, he might speak up about their plans and throw the rest of them under the bus, which might set up the greater conflict in Ahsoka Season 2. And his one-to-one rival is X-Wing pilot Trapper Wolf. It's kind of like what Dave said about Hera Syndulla and Thrawn, but in this case, Trapper and Lord Janu. And they finish by saying someone is going down. I don't think the president of Lucasfilm, CCO and producer of this movie is going to kill off his own character. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't think Lord Janu makes it out of this movie alive. If one of them's going to go down, it's going to be the remnant. I do find self-inserts so funny, and I suppose, as a prequel fan, as a George Lucas fan, I can't really complain. George had himself inserted in the prequel trilogy, and his kids were in the films too, but I do find it hilarious with Trapper Wolf that when he's not wearing his X-Wing pilot suit, he's literally just Dave Filoni. On a Delphi base, he was wearing his iconic cowboy hat. This is such a Dave Filoni move. I expected him to make a cameo, but I didn't expect him to be playing a main character. And by the way, in addition to this, he's the voice of Embo, but now he's coming up against Johnny Coyne. And I have to say, if you don't know too much about Johnny's work, he is a fantastic villain in everything I've seen him in, notably the Toxic Avenger and Would You Rather. So I'm really excited to see him play a major role in a Star Wars film. He was great in Mando Season 3, but this time, more dialogue, and overall, actually in the spotlight. So moving on, my friends, Odeon then talks about Sigourney Weaver as Colonel Ward. They say Weaver plays a one-time Rebel Alliance pilot turned leader of the New Republic's Adelphi Rangers. she's also Din Djarin's boss. So there you go, my friends. Confirmation of what the leaks told us, and while to some extent this was obvious, it's never been explicitly stated like this. As the warrior queen of the Alien saga quipped at the Oscars, she's had some experience with intergalactic nasties. But compared to Jabba the Hutt's extended family, not to mention the dragon snake and Mantelian Savrip spotted in the trailer, those xenomorphs and facehuggers will seem like a cardboard box full of kittens. And they're trying to be poetic and use lots of imagery and they're kind of quaint, but I do have to wonder if at any point in the movie Colonel Ward is going to leave Adelphi base. She's stationed there, but does she ever go off-world? A part of me says yes, especially during the climax of the film with the other Adelphi Rangers. The action figure kind of reveals this, but now that they mention Trapper Wolf, I think it's going to be Ward, Trapper, and Carson Tava, confirmed from the Lego set, in an epic battle in space. So next up, Jeremy Allen White as Rotta the Hutt. They say Jabba's molten flesh rained down on the Dune Sea after Luke Skywalker and the gang detonated the slug gangster's skiff in Return of the Jedi. Amazing they did mention Leia in this. Anyway, but the Hutt dynasty did not die with him. While Jabba's twin cousins will be a malevolent presence in the new movie, the greatest threat to Din's life is Jabba's son, Rotta. And while we're on the subject of Hutts, a fun fact we learned in the Legacy of Vader comics is there is another powerful Hutt from the prequel days who is still alive and still lurking in the shadows, Garjula the Hutt from the Phantom Menace. The original owner of Anakin and Shmi before she lost them to Watto. I wonder if she'll be mentioned or if they dare to bring her back. She survives all the way up to the sequel trilogy, but because she's based on Tatooine, and word on the street is we're not going back there in this movie, I do doubt it. But one has to wonder if the twins, or even Rotta, had any extended interactions with her following Jabba's death. In the Book of Boba Fett, were they staying at her fortress? And I'm not just theorizing this for the sake of it. She was one of the most dangerous, influential, and feared Hutts of the entire clan. Because the comics recently confirmed that she's still alive, I wonder if Lucasfilm has plans to bring her back on screen. She eventually dies at the hands of Kylo Ren, but one of the reasons she might be very important to some of the other Hutts is because she has some crazy powerful assets, notably a Force-sensitive pet who knows how to use telekinesis. If the Hutt twins find out that Grogu has the Force, a creature like that could come in handy. Odeon then goes on to summarize who some of the other characters are, notably Zeb. I think the movie's going to be very accessible in terms of basic exposition, especially for those who haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, but it's good to know his importance in advance, and I hope the movie's going to drive casual fans to go back and watch the TV shows, both animated and live action. But the big reveal today, my friends, is that Trapper Wolf, Dave Filoni, is going to be a main rival to the main villain. What do you guys make of this? Share your thoughts on all of today's reveals, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.